This young lady that I'm about to introduce, I said there was one of my heroes growing up, and this young lady became my hero because I watched her evolve. I watched her like she was a girl that I met, and now she's this woman that's about to get married. But you know, let me tell you, Keturah Orji, and when she started out in the triple jump, basically, she admitted, she's like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just out there doing it. I was just doing it. And I even asked her, I was like, I don't know, I just do it. But she came from a gymnastics background, and basically, I guess, got too tall. Was that it?
I didn't want to do gymnastics.
You didn't want to do it anymore? She didn't want to do it anymore. And then she came in track and field and basically just took to it. Just took to it. And as I said, I watched her evolve. It was 2000, when was Donuts?
2013.
2013. Okay, 2013. This is after I met her in the Bahamas. I saw she got second at the World Youth Championships, which is, you know, they took it away from us. We don't have it anymore. But I watched her jump over 44 feet like this.
Yep, exactly like that.
And I was like, and I talked to Peter, and I was like, you see it? I talked to Joe, I was like, did you see that? Did you see the jump? Did you see it? But she ain't even like, I mean, none of this. None of it. It was like, pop. And she was like, I'm good. And then, like, 44, I'm good, second place. And I was like, that's amazing. And right there, I was like, you know, she's going to do some great things. She's going to do some great things. And she went on, and I watched her senior year, and it was still a lot of this. A lot of this. And I have some video that I got to show you, too, in Albuquerque, where you set that record there. Same thing. It was like, boom. It was a 44-foot jump. I was like, this is crazy. So she goes on to University of Georgia and wins the SEC championship 7 times? 8. Get it right. 8. Okay, so Georgia, you guys know SEC's no joke, right?
No.
Cox. Okay, I'm gonna let that one go. Anyway, so you have to understand that's no joke. Then goes on to the NCAAs and destroys in the NCAAs too. Did you ever even lose a championship?
Yeah, my freshman year.
Your freshman year, that was it. So 7 times.
7 times triple jump. 1 time.
Triple jump NCAA champion. Okay, guys, are you listening to this? I don't think you understand what I'm telling you. She lost 1 NCAA championship, and that was her freshman year in the triple jump. After that, she just dominated. Dominated. Okay? SEC, dominated. And also became quite the long jumper as well. What's your best now? 22.4? 22.4. Okay? Somebody said, hey man, call it out. She's farther than me. That's what I'm talking about. It's about her getting pumped. That's what I'm saying. Step your game.
Be real.
Okay? All right.
Real.
Then goes on, she has the NCAA record in the triple jump, SEC record in the triple jump, okay? And then goes on and gets the American record in the triple jump, okay? And jumped 48 feet 3. 48 feet 3 inches, okay? And I can tell you it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that, okay? I watched her indoors, and she just missed making the podium at the Indoor World Championships. And then later on, went to Rio, and I'll tell you, I think Joy and I were on the phone the entire time. And it was like, she's in second place. She's in third place. She gotta hang on. I was like, ah!
You know what it was? It was, did you see that look she gave her coach?
Oh, yeah. She's like, yeah, I know that look. I've had that look. I've experienced that firsthand. Yeah, that wasn't good. But anyway, I can tell you she's feisty, headstrong, and it's funny because she has a personality we look for in our jumpers. Because I call it a punch him in the face attitude. Okay, and she definitely has it. She definitely has it. It is my pleasure to introduce a product of Project Triple Jump, okay, and an alumni, our most distinguished Keturah Orji.
I wish they didn't give that crazy introduction.
Because she hates the clap.
Because now your standards are, I feel like, are all for me. I'm kind of new to public speaking, so you guys have to be patient with me, but I have a lot of knowledge that I want to share with all of you guys. So as he said, my name is Keturah Orji, and I'm 23 years old. I attended the University of Georgia. My undergraduate degree was in financial planning, and my master's degree is in sport management. I currently jump professionally for Atlanta Track Club and Mizuno. And I'm just gonna today talk to you guys about recruiting process, because they said a lot of you guys are getting recruited right now. And then advice on being a college athlete if you guys are gonna compete in college. And then also the reality of being a professional athlete. I just finished off my first year being a professional athlete this year. And so before I get into any of that, I wanted to give some fun facts to you guys about myself, because sometimes you see people come and talk to you and you think they're this person all the way up here, but I want you guys to know that I was one of you guys also at some point, and you can get to the same place that I was, that I'm at right now, or even above where I'm at right now. So I grew up in New Jersey. I'm not from Georgia. I have 2 sisters and a brother. I also used to do gymnastics, as he told you guys, and played volleyball in high school. So I didn't start track and field until I got to high school. So if anyone's a late bloomer, that's okay. I didn't start triple jump when I was 3 years old and been doing it since then. Volleyball is actually still my favorite sport, even though I'm a professional athlete in track and field. I've always loved it, and after World Youth, after that bronze medal and silver medal at World Youth, people told me I should stop doing volleyball because I couldn't get hurt doing volleyball, or something was gonna happen, and they just told me I should focus on track. But I was like, I love volleyball, I'm gonna keep doing it. So I encourage you guys, if you're doing other sports, to keep doing them, because it's good for your body, especially when you're young. No need to specialize at such a young age. My dad is actually Nigerian, and so school was the most important thing in our household. It didn't matter what I was doing in track, he didn't care. It was make sure you get your work done. And it wasn't until he found out that track and field could pay for my education that he was like, I like this. So my mom was kind of the person that promoted us doing extracurricular activities, and school was always the #1 thing for my dad. I love playing board games, card games, anything on the phone. I'm really competitive, so any games that exist, I want to play them and I want to beat you at them. I played the flute in 4th grade. Started in 4th grade and then all the way up until I graduated high school, and so a lot of people don't know that about myself, and sometimes people that play instruments are seen as band nerds or things like that, but I mean, people don't even know I play the flute, and I feel like I don't look like someone that's like a band nerd, but I love playing it. So that's an interesting fact about me. I also grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and so I often struggled with beauty standards when I was younger. So I didn't want to wear my natural hair. Different standards about noses and lips and things like that. If you're surrounded by people that don't look like you, you kind of struggle with that. So if anyone here can identify with that, I was in the same shoes as you. And now I love my natural hair. If anyone knows me, the #1 thing I say is twist out fleeky. Another thing that a lot of people do not know this about me is I actually was suspended my senior year of high school. And I'm not going to go into the reason why, but it's not anything crazy. But I think it speaks to the issues that are present in schools where Black kids are often disciplined harsher and for longer than other kids around them. So I just wanted to bring that up in case any of you guys have ever been suspended. I have too. But going into the actual topic, I'm going to start with talking about what I feel is most important, and that is your value. And so your value is not found in the sport that you do, or your grades, or whatever else that you're really interested in. Your value, well, my value is found in God and rooted in God. But I think that you guys need to figure out what your identity is in and what your value is in, and stand strong in that, because your sport and your grades gonna let you down. Sometimes you don't do as well as you want in your sport. Sometimes you fail a test that you studied really hard for. Those are things that are ever changing. But if you have your identity in something that doesn't change, that's really what's gonna keep you grounded. So I think it's just important to not value yourself based off of your sport, whether you go to the Olympics or not, whether you get a scholarship or not, whatever it is you have that you wanna do. It's okay if that doesn't happen, you're still valuable. The #1 reason I think that's most important is because the world tries to label you by your sport, and so a lot of people when they introduce me, they're like, oh, this is my friend, the Olympian. And I'm like, I'm not just an Olympian, I've definitely done other things. Or they'll say, oh, you played Division I sports, and they want to go down that alley. But a lot of times, the world just labels you as what you have accomplished and what sport you do. But that's not all you do. You're way more than that. The second reason I think it's important is because it helps with pressure. So if you're walking around and you're saying like, oh, if I don't do well at this track meet today, then I'm worthless. What am I gonna do? Or if I fail this test, then oh my gosh, I'm gonna drop out. You have put a lot of pressure on yourself to do really well because you find your value in that. But if you can find your value in something else, there's not so much pressure on you because you know you're still you whether you do really well or not. And the third reason I think it's important is because many college athletes, when they finish their sport, they struggle with finding their identity. So their whole life they've been doing track and field or they've been doing a certain sport. And then they finish college, they thought they was gonna be a professional athlete, but that doesn't work out. They finish college, they're done with that sport forever almost, and they have no idea what they want to do. They don't know what they're interested in, they don't know what their purpose is, they don't know anything but that sport and what they've been doing for their whole life. And so I don't want you guys, when you finish your sports, to just be standing around like, what am I, who am I, what am I gonna do now? So there's many other things that you can find your value in. Mine is in God, but I don't want to put my faith on anyone. But I know that my God is never changing and loves me no matter what I do. And so that's why my foundation is in God. This leads me to my next point, to be versatile. And so right now, I think all of y'all are in high school and about to enter college. So start figuring out interests, hobbies, things you want to get involved in apart from your sport. Because if you don't end up doing your sport when you finish, you're going to want to have different paths. And also you can get injured or nothing goes how we plan it to go. So just make sure you have a lot of different paths and avenues to go down in case something happens. For example, I majored in financial planning, which I didn't even know what that was when I got to college. But we got the opportunity to file people's taxes while we were in school, and then I also applied to work at a clinic where I met with clients one-on-one and advised them on their financial situation. And so that was my senior year, and everything was going really well in track, and I could have just stayed on the track path, but I was like, why not explore this opportunity? It looks good on your resume, which I'm not even using resume right now because I'm an athlete, but it was just me making sure all my options were still there for me and putting myself in the best situation possible despite me doing really well in track. And then UGA also offered to pay for my master's, and so some people may have been like, well, I'm going to be a professional athlete, I want to focus on that, I don't want to be in school any longer, and different things like that. But I knew if my master's is free right now, I'm going to school right now, I'm not going to postpone it, I'm going to get it done right now, because that gives me more opportunities to get something done in the future. So just take advantage of the opportunities, and just be versatile. Don't just say like, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm a track and field athlete. No, you're not just a track and field athlete, you're more than that. So just try and figure out what else you are other than the sport that you do. The next topic is recruiting, as I was saying. So this process should be fun, but it's also going to be really stressful and demanding. If you don't know where to start, my family and I didn't know where to start because we have never had anyone in the family do Division I athletics. We looked up the results from NCAA championships. So I think, is everyone a triple jumper or just a jumper? Okay, so you can go online and look up the NCAA results for triple jump and see the results and see who has done the best. And you go back a year and look at the triple jump results and see who's done the best and find the consistency in schools of who's doing the best and then find out who's coaching them and reach out to those coaches, or if those coaches reach out to you, you know those are the ones that you should talk to. The first piece of advice I have is if you're having home visits, you need to limit the number of them. I did not do this because we knew nothing, and so I was kind of just letting whoever was interested come and speak to me. And home visits, if you guys don't know, the coach comes to your house and talks about the school, the benefits of it, they offer you a scholarship. It's like 3 to 4 hours of them sitting there talking to you. And I didn't know that at that point, so I had like over 20 home visits, and it's extremely, it takes a lot out of you, which I didn't know when I agreed to do all of them. It just is a lot to sit down and talk to all of these coaches and hear them try to sell the school to you. So if you're having home visits, just keep it to like 10, 15 maybe, but don't do as many as I did, because it took a lot out of me and my parents to just host that many coaches. The second thing is when you're evaluating the coaches, don't focus on one star athlete. So sometimes coaches, they could be like a pretty good coach, but they'll get a star athlete and they'll do really well. So say they get like Allison Felix. and everyone's like, oh, I want to go to USC where Allison Felix went. But the thing is, if that coach, same coach gets 15 other athletes and those 15 other athletes don't do well, then maybe that program isn't as good as you think it is. So when you're evaluating a coach, look across all of the athletes that they've coached and make sure they're from different places, different types of people, because coaches sometimes try to put the same template on every athlete, and it doesn't work on every athlete. So you just want to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best situation when you meet with the coach, and know that even though it worked for this person doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So just be aware of that. Another thing, ask the coaches hard questions on the home visit. So it may seem awkward or uncomfortable to ask some of these questions, but the coaches are trying to get you there no matter what, and they're going to say whatever they want to try to get you there. So you might as well ask these difficult questions and see what they can say. One of the questions I recommend is asking the coach if they were an athlete right now, so them as a coach isn't an option. Who would they want to be coached by? So they can't say, so say I'm a UF coach. I can't say like, oh, I want to be coached by University of Florida. Ask them to name 3 other schools that they would want to be coached and why they would want to go to those schools and be coached by that person. Another thing is ask them what happened to an athlete they recruited and didn't progress at all. So if you see an athlete from high school that was really good and went there and you never heard about them again, ask them about that athlete and see what they have to say. And if they say injuries, ask them, well, what about the athletic trainers? Did they not help them with the injuries? So it may seem awkward and uncomfortable, but they need to face those questions, because they're going to be saying whatever they want to try to get you to come there. And then asking about athletes that have transferred. So if you know any athletes that are pretty good and they ended up leaving, ask them about that too. And then once you decide on your official visits, so after you get all your home visits, you get 5 official visits. On your official visits, ask the athletes hard questions too. So the athletes are the ones that have actually gone through the exact same thing you did. They got recruited and got tricked or lied to or whatever it is that the coaches want to do, and then they're still at that school, or they feel a certain way and they have their opinion to express. So make sure you're talking to the athletes. And one of the questions I recommend is, what don't you like about the school, or what don't you like about the coach? And so you don't have to force them to say something bad, but if you put the question out there, maybe they'd be willing to share something with you. Do you have a question?
Yeah, can you just